not a lot going on as far as the outside bringing people in, but that's not always a terrible thing. The season they're not playing on Sunday.
Well, since you brought those two guys up, let's talk about them because, I guess overall massive disappointment for the big signings last year, off-season signings on the interior defensive line where they needed help, and both Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave were cut. And on the way out the door, Hargrave, said, and I can't argue with this. He said that this defense with Flores is not conducive to big sack numbers for the interior linemen. It emphasizes the edge rushers, and in Flores is, you got what's his name, Smith coming in, all these guys blitzing and getting sacks. So these guys didn't get the sack numbers they probably wanted. I can't argue with that. But what bothers me is Hargrave went and signed a 2-year deal with Green Bay. So there's a couple revenge games coming up on the Vikings calendar.
Yeah, and it's not all about sacks. I mean, you can impact a game without, right. It's not just sack numbers. Sack numbers get edge rushers paid. They also get interior guys paid. Got him paid, whenever he was, when he went from Philadelphia to San Francisco, and I believe he gets reunited in Green Bay with someone that he had with Gannon, Jonathan Gannon in Green Bay. So trying to turn back the clock with that, it was more than just the system and everything, and what also comes into play is probably the weakness of that. One of the few weaknesses on that was that defense was, stopping the run, and so there were some moments early in the year, especially on the Atlanta game, that jumps out at me as like, wow, they can't stop the run sometimes, and you can't double down, especially when you're in this kind of cap hell that they were in. Although the cap hell, to me, the moves were pretty easy. Some of them, that to get back underneath the cap was. I guess that speaks to how badly some of the decisions were and ended up being from last year.
Now they got a big hole in the defensive line, don't they? I mean, they signed brought back, or I guess the Vikings have placed exclusive rights tender on Jalen Redmond, who had a great year last year and who has been a nice find for him. But they're going to need to get somebody else on the defensive line, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they have the Dawkins. The kid they drafted last year, he was a young, draft pick.
Rodriguez.
And they got Levi Drake Rodriguez, and they had the other guy, the bigger guy, Taki. They got some guys that, you may not be all first round draft picks and high price free agents this year, but they're going to go younger for sure. And Jalen Redmond he's becoming that no brainer guy. Like it's a no brainer to put an exclusive rights on him. It's a no brainer when the dust settles here to get him an extension because he's a rising star. He's much more valuable to this defense than Allen and Hargrave at their ages.
So I never did see what the numbers were on Redmond's deal. Do you know? I mean, how many years he's here for, or what he's being?
Well, no, they just tagged him, didn't they? They just kind of put the exclusive rights on him, and then that just locks him. That just puts him, because of his services, it hasn't reached the free agency period. He's restricted, and so they just so no one sneaks in with a poison pill like the Vikings did with Hutch.
Okay, all right.